Hey everyone. Today we have a really special interview with Jacques, who's been in the space for 6 years now, since 2018. And he's gone from a high of $800,000 in his portfolio down to a low of $60,000. It's been an emotional roller coaster for him for years. Nothing worked, but we've worked really hard together over the last 4 months now to completely change around his trading. And that's the story you're going to see here today. Transparently, I share these so you see what me and the team can do, and then consider joining the mentorships yourselves. Hey, Jacques, great to see you. Thanks for hopping on this call. Before we jump in, could you give us a brief introduction to yourself and your trading history?
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for the invite. Appreciate that. Yeah, I've been in crypto and trading for quite some years. I would say now it's been about 7 years. Never really got anything going. It was always just a buy and hold, and that's obviously what led me to where you are. But that's pretty much my experience. It's a lot, we hear it everywhere. We hear, and we FOMO in, and then we just buy into these things, and that's how I started. Taught myself a little bit, but that was the foundation. It was just purely just jumping in from hearing things and hearing about it.
So you'd hear about something, you'd buy and hold and leave it at that. Were you trading at all or trying to trade?
I was trying to trade little bits, and it was purely just it was emotional trading. So you
Yeah.
would hear something, and the emotions more came on. Yes, that's going to work because someone said something or an influencer said something. So you would then go look that up, and because they said it, and that was the buy signal or that was the buy zone, and off we went. You just buy it and go. The trading was never any structured trading. That was called my trading at that time. It was just purely just on what people said and bought and held.
And how was that working out for you?
Oh no, it was terrible. It pretty much it got me, and I always say to many people, it got me asset rich and dollar poor.
Mhm.
It got me on an emotional roller coaster going up and down. There were spurts where I had a look at it, and you would be filled with a bit of joy because now things are going right, and then you just don't know what to do from there. Then you watch it come all the way down, and then it's that whole cycle of emotions, the euphoria, then it goes down the
Mhm.
complacency, the anger, the denial, all of those. I think I've experienced all of them.
Yeah, it's crazy. Even if it's break even, how much of an emotional toll it can take, regardless of whether it's attaching a loss to it as well. Could I ask how much you lost if you ever have one big noticeable day or week period?
Are you talking on a single trade, or are you just talking total portfolio?
Single trade, total portfolio, something that was your wake up call to, okay, I need to stop doing this.
Well, it pretty much came this year, March. That's how I was led to you. I've been following you for a good few years. I've actually done your YouTube stuff, just
Nice.
on analysis. Very cool. And I've always followed you on Twitter. But I think after the previous run that was COVID, um, I watched everything go up, was financially free at that stage, and the market came down, and I just held and held and held. And I watched a portfolio go from around 800 to, I think it went to about 60K. Um, had some of that. I still had some money that I pulled out. At that time, we had sold our house, so we could live. But the final straw was this year when the market went up and then it dropped down. I was back in a good position, but
Yeah.
when that dropped, that was the point that I said I needed to do something, and that was when you were advertising your mentorship program.
So you went from 800,000 to 60K?
Yeah, but that was pretty much the sad thing about that was the lack of knowledge where you fear and you sell, and then you think it's going to go up again, and then you buy. So all you're doing is you're decreasing your token count. So by the time you're going down, that loss is just getting bigger and quicker and quicker. Uh, yeah, it tumbled so fast. If I maybe kept it, it would have gone up, and I would have got back more than what I had. But yeah, I was just making a mess of it. I was selling, and then I was literally selling low, and buying high and just reducing the tokens as it was going down. So it just dropped. When it bottomed out, when Bitcoin bottomed out, what was it, 15? It was about, yeah, it was about 60K.
That's brutal. Sorry you went through that. It sounds like it was emotional trading, listening to influencer signals, having no clear plan to what you were doing. Am I missing anything there?
Yeah, I don't think you're missing much. The emotions. I think the emotions out of that is the most painful thing
Mm-hmm.
that you go through, because you end up losing hope that yeah, and it wasn't the first time. Let me tell you that it wasn't the first time that had happened. It happened multiple times. So I don't think you're missing anything on that. We go through all of those.
So it happened multiple times. How long had it been going on for?
I would say it's from just pre-COVID, about a year or two before that. I had started then with, I was pulled into some project and I was working those coins and those tokens.
Yeah.
And I was trying to farm them. I got it to a good stage where the portfolio looked good. And I'd sold, which I'd actually sold right at the top, but lucky. I didn't know anything. And they said to me, it was, I can remember it was like 10 cents. They said it was going to go to 20 cents. And I jumped back in and it fell down. And that actually, it fell so bad that we had pulled out the last little bits of that. And I'm talking, I can't remember the amounts, but it dropped completely. So that was the one before the COVID or cycle, the post-COVID cycle.
Okay, so you've been in the space a long time. Post-COVID, 2 years, that's 2018,
Yeah.
roughly, up until now. So that was 5 years of this. And what was the trajectory like? Were things getting better? Was it getting worse? Were you heading in the right direction? Or was it just the standard ups, downs, ups, downs?
Up and down, up and down. The only thing that saved me is I got into some ICO projects that then they got distributed and I got those tokens. I got some of that money
Mm-hmm.
back during that. But it was all up, down, up, down. Look, when it dropped completely, I still had some work that I was doing, so I could still earn a living. But I just given up. I just gave up and I just left it. I said, if it goes back up, it's fine. Otherwise, I'm just going to leave it. And it was that when that bottomed, it went up. And I still had the interview with Max, and I told him, I looked at it, and it went up to like 350. And then when I had the call, it was on 150 and dropping. So I managed to salvage some of that 800, but once again, same cycle, up and down. And that was the final straw that I had from when it going back up there. At least I regained about 40% of it, which was okay.
Nice.
But then it dropped down and dropped to about a 150, and then dropping, I think the worst it went to, I kid you not, was about 110. And then I just said, there's no way.
Yeah. Okay, so that was your last straw. You were done with it. Before you hopped on the call with Max, how did you find out about the mentorship in the first place?
Like I said, I've been following you on Twitter, and I saw all of it. But I was a little bit skeptical because of what's happened in the past. I've paid a lot of money to go to people, and you just get into a channel and you need to do this, and you just need to try and understand these things. So yeah, that was pretty much it.
So you started describing that. You get into a channel, and what happens in the usual crypto program?
It's pretty much buy, yeah, sell there. No clear indication. You never know. Even if you're in these signal channels, they can say they've hit profits and they've made so much, but it's never a clear indication of what they're actually doing. And there's still, if they're giving you a buy zone, you got to buy, yeah, and you got to sell there. You still don't know what you're doing. How much do you buy? What do you buy? When do you cut? Do you? And there's no. I would say there's no truth in those channels. And yeah, I was just stuck in that playing. Or I tried that as well. I even tried the bots.
So trading bots, you tried random channels, and I know exactly what you're describing and what they're like, and that's part of why we built this in the first place. So you find out about the mentorship, you're skeptical because you're worried it's going to look like those other stuff. What made you say yes anyway? What made you decide to join despite all the previous issues you've had with these sorts of things?
Yeah, sorry. So I actually lost my train of thought there when I was chatting about you on Twitter. So I had been following. There was always an element, and yes, thank you. One thing is you've always presented yourself as this humble, honest person, and that was something that really it drew me to always listening. I actually put the alerts on, so when you had posted anything, I always wanted to see what it was, and you advertised the mentor program, and that was when I was at the point I just couldn't lose anymore. But I was worried and scared. If now, what do I do? You mentioned that it's not cheap, and thinking, now I'm at loss. Do I go into this? It doesn't work out. What am I gonna do? And I just decided, let's just. We prayed about this. We got quiet, my wife and I, and we straight away. We knew. I didn't even hesitate. There was just something right, and I think it's just for following you for so long. I thought it's got to be. I'm gonna try this. I don't have any other option. And at this point where I'm sitting now, I find the mentorship program is it's more than worth it. More than worth it. If I have to go back, out of all the decisions I've made in the crypto space through the years, the wrong decisions I've made, this has been the best decision. And it's not because I'm sitting here speaking to you, not trying to, blow up an ego or anything. That is just how it's changed my life. It's just been unbelievably good.
That's unbelievable to hear, Jack. Really happy, Jack, that you got that and you've gotten those benefits from the program, especially after the ups and downs that you've been through. Glad the decision has worked out nicely for you. How's your trading going now? How's your situation and relationship with crypto now?
Very cool. It's, the one thing that I can just pin it down to is I've got control. And that was so important for me. It's not just that, I've got a team that's behind me. There are videos if I get stuck with anything, a whole library. There's structure, which is so important. I've got a process that I follow. There's accountability. I've got mentors. There's a community. There's reliability. There's support. There's so many things, and I feel that when I open up, I can see. If I see what I want to see, all good. We go searching. We find what we want. We get in. We've got the right risks. We've got everything in place. We trade that. If I don't, I don't. And for that day, then I don't trade. If I trade 2 days a week, where I felt before, I just needed to trade continually all the time. And I needed to find the next one. And one great thing that I love now is if there's a loss, it's okay. There's another trade. And that trade, it's not like, okay, well, you lose this. Because of my mentality before, when you lose, that triggers that you're just going to keep losing. It's a downward spiral. You're going to keep losing. Now it's not. That's it. It's finished. You've lost that 1%. It's done. And then I go, look, normally I step away if I've had a loss, and then I'll come back and I'll regroup. But the structure behind what I'm doing now it's so cool. I feel at peace for once in this space.
There was so much in that, different components, mentality improvements, process improvements, community around you that's helping you, the ability to deal with losing streaks and less time trading. I want to dive into those if that's okay. Let's start with, you said you're spending less time trading, sometimes only 2 days a week. What has enabled you to be able to do that?
So just understanding on what I need to do. So I'll trade different times, obviously, because it just depends on how I see market going, which if it's morning, if it's afternoon, if it's evening time. But it's purely just being able to, through the program, understanding what I need to see on those charts and what the structures are that I look for. If I find that, then I'll have a good time. I'll also limit it because I can easily get away with it. We want to keep going. So I will most at most have a 4 hour session, and then I'll step away and I'll walk away from that. But it's allowed me, just because of understanding now, you know, when I open a chart, what am I looking for? It's given me consistency in terms of support and resistance. It's helped me understand volumes and when and how they operate and when to use them, looking at what levels need to break, waiting for confirmations. All of those have just allowed me to just be at peace and feel structured. And yeah, it's good.
You know exactly what you're looking for. You've got clear parameters and metrics for every technical analysis tool you use. If they appear, you trade. If they don't appear, go about your day. You also cap it at 4 hours a day, because I'm guessing that's how you operate best, and anymore it starts becoming emotionally a challenge. So I'll go to the next point. How have you fixed the emotional issues now? You can handle losing streaks with no problem. Your mentality, you keep using the word at peace. What has enabled that?
The structure. I think I'm a structure person, and I keep going back to that. It's very important for me to be structured, and if I get flustered in any way, if there is a loss, and especially if there is one that I'm not too sure of, and then it starts heading the wrong way, I would want to be hard on myself because, okay, I should have known. But then I reset and I think of the positives. Okay, what's the positive out of this? If you've made a mistake and you do hit stop loss, that's your risk, and you are going to get those. And then you just reset, and then you go. What I love about this, and what I've never done before, and like I say again, is the structures, and it's the lists. Journaling has been massive for me. It's not something I've done before. I can go back and I can have a look. I check every day. What did I do the day before? How did those charts look? If I've made a mistake, there is a column where I can list, this is what I've done wrong. I can have a look at what I've done right. And that's just helped me improve. So it's the structure behind everything that has just been golden for me.
I'm also a structure person, so I'm glad it's helped you this much. You've spoken a lot about what has been added to your trading, and huge congratulations to you. We kind of provide the way, like point you in the right direction. It's you who's implemented this structure, set it up, made it so you can adhere to it every single day. So huge congratulations for you. What's something you've taken away from your trading? Something that you were doing that you shouldn't have been doing that's now no longer in your trading process thanks to the program?
That's easy. That's just the FOMO.
Yeah.
Something I've been was doing before is the emotions take over, that you completely forget about the analysis that you're doing. And it's amazing how understanding charts and understanding levels, that you don't look at candles and get completely emotional about how and what they're doing. Uh, the great thing for me is, even if I've now become a momentum trader, I absolutely love it. This buy high, sell higher. I can never ever would ever have done it. It was always about buying lower. Could never take anything going drawdown. When it goes into drawdown, you sell it at a loss, and then it turns and it goes. But now, waiting, and it breaks a level and it retests that, it gets me in and off it goes. That has been great for me. Just not this FOMO, just click and buy or click and sell.
What's your life pre and post program? How's it changed?
Koroush, it's massive, because where we were actually looking at that I would need to maybe go find another job, because I'd relied on this for how long. And back previously, I was retrenched from a company, and I was just living off the crypto. Now it's enabled me to have that lifestyle. And it's not a lifestyle where I'm talking, flashing. It's more a lifestyle where I traveled for many years of my life. So I was away. I've got 3 girls and a wife. I traveled, and I didn't see much of them with growing up. This has just allowed me to be around all the time. They come home from school. I try to do most of my trading in the morning. When they get home, it could get noisy. So then I want to cut it. but I'm at home. And on that day, if I don't, I'm an avid golfer. I love playing golf. So if on Wednesdays, if I play, I know that I'm finished, everything's done, and I go out and I don't have to worry about now. I have to open my phone, check my phone. Is everything okay? What's happening? And that's the same as at night as well. That's what it's cured a lot. You can put your phone down and you can go to bed and you can sleep.
Sounds like a lot more freedom in your life to spend your time exactly how you want to do it without the mental load, the negative mental load that trading can often bring. So what's your focus now with your trading? What's the next challenge for you?
I think the big challenge now is this market now where we are, going into this bull run. I know that things could become a little bit easier, and it's for me just to stay within my process and to just stay grounded and stick to this, because this is a run. I've never made it through one of these runs profitable, and the profit's been really good. My win rate's been really good leading up to this. And that is very important for me to now just stay grounded and stick to that, so that going through this, I get out I'm not even get out at the top. I'm not holding like it, but trading this, with the same strategy and the same process.
Well, congratulations getting as far as you have. One of the hardest, if not the hardest challenge is staying consistent with what you've built now for a long amount of time. Jacques, thank you so much for hopping on. Final question. What would you tell someone who's listening to this right now and unsure about taking the next steps?
There's so much to maybe just make it brief. If you really want to change your life and you're ready to commit, and that's the one thing I think, Koroush, you guys bring so much to the table. I could never thank you enough, but you guys have done so much in what you give. There's just so many teachings, so much support, but you just need to bring your side. If you're ready to commit those 2 hours and you want to change your life, there's no other place. I've searched high and low. There is no other place like this. So, and it's not expensive. If you look back at the wealth of knowledge and what you learn through it, it's not. If I look back, like I said to you earlier, I would pay it over and over and over again. And I would encourage anybody to take a step from when you first start, from the interview with Max right up to where I am now. I'm getting checked on daily, weekly. I get my reviews. It is, if I want to ask anything, it doesn't take long before someone replies to me, and I would say just jump in. It's gonna change everything.
Your kind words are going to be motivation for me and the team to keep working really hard. I'll say it again. You don't need to thank us. It's 10% us, 90% you who showed up every single day and put in the work. Congratulations. It's been an absolute pleasure. I'll probably see you on a group coaching call soon.
Good. Thanks, Koroush.
Thank you. Bye.
Ciao.